Peace and love, peace and love. It's your brother Isaiah tapping in with another one for all the conscious brothers and all the conscious sisters in the conscious community, keeping the struggle because we know it's through the struggle that we grow. Also, I like to say that it is, in fact, a slow process for progress and that the race is never to the swift, it's to those that remain dutiful. So make sure you stay in this for the long haul. Y'all already know my videos, they never constitute legal advice. Uh, for I'm not a legal counsel, I'm not an attorney. I am your brother, and I want to share education and information with you about my walks and about my travels throughout my journey called life, and I like to extend these honors to you. Because when you're honoring man and you're honoring woman, you're honoring yourself. Let me give adoration and to the Allah, the hidden temple of my life, and extend that same love, courtesy, and acknowledgement to all of his messengers and prophets. Peace to all of you. Beloved brothers and sisters in grand rising to the indigenous peoples of the Americas. How y'all doing? Myself, I'm blessed, taking everything in steps, stages, and degrees, constantly unfolding in the womb of these two different worlds. I just wanted to tap in, just wanted to drop a little bit of wisdom for today, just to make you think. I was thinking about the Lord's Prayer. Remember the Lord's Prayer where it says, in the Lord's Prayer it says, how does it start off? It says, Our Father who art in heaven, something, give us this day our daily bread or something. It says, and forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespassed against us. Now, what is a trespass? When in the Bible it says, forgive us for our trespasses, like when we trespass, and we got to forgive those who trespass against us. Don't you know that when somebody, like when they write tickets on you, when they make claims against your mortgage, that's a trespass? Because according to the Constitution, the natural man and his legal person are a secured individual. That's a secured individual, meaning it's composed of two persons, one natural and one being a legal identity, which is the natural person's identity. So legally, his identity is how he operates. He operates through his legal identity, but his legal identity is just a representation of his natural self. So anytime they pierce that flesh, that's called a trespass. So that's why the Lord's Prayer say, forgive us for our trespasses as we forgive those who trespassed against us, and lead us not into temptation. All right. Now, why would it say not to lead us into temptation? Because the world is full of lies and deception, meaning that the world, it allures us into believing that certain things are rightful for us, like a child growing up in this day and time, seeing two men married together, that's a temptation, because if that child is not taught properly about the truth, then they wouldn't know whether or not that's a rightful act or a wrongful act, being that they born in a world that's full of these type of sins that's happening all around us. And this is how we all came into the world. We came into a world full of lies, full of deception, full of trickery, full of deceptive acts, deceptive practices, manipulation, name fraud. So all this stuff is what was going on before me and you was even born. They've been doing this, okay? So when we came in to a bunch of lies, a bunch of deception, and we began to become shaped by that. We began to be molded in our mind and our way of thinking to believe that these lies, these different things we were taught were true, and that this was life. And it began to mold our way of thinking, and we began to live a lifestyle in accordance to the way we were programmed. That's why they call it television programming, because it is actually a program. And the programmer is them, and the one being programmed is the one watching the television. All right. So, and then you'll say, well, how is that possible? Hello, y'all. It's a bike. Somebody on their bike kind of loud. Okay. So the way that the television is used to program you, let me give you an example. Because most people probably wouldn't believe that it's true, but it is true because, all right, the average person, let's just look at it like this. How many of y'all went and got a driver's license when y'all turned 16 or whenever you were capable of being able to attain that type of license? All right, did you read anywhere in any code, any statute, any constitutional laws that required for you to have that license before you actually went and purchased it? Did you read the codes that what it said you had, why you have to have a license, or did you just go off what somebody else said, or were you programmed by what you watched on television? Did you watch a movie where somebody got pulled over and a cop asked them for a license or something in the movie? Did you watch a television show where one of the fathers got pulled over by an officer in one of the scenes and he was required to produce a driver's license or some sort of identification card? Now, this is called subliminal suggestion. Subliminal suggestion is when somebody puts an ideal in your head without you even knowing that the idea that's placed in your head is not your idea. It originally didn't even come from you. It came from somebody else. Okay, so this is the hold up, y'all. There you go again with the bike. All right, so back to what I was saying. So that's called subliminal suggestion. So the television, the movies, all the things that we call entertainment is really programming, and it subliminally suggests reality to you. So what I mean, television is a subliminal suggestion of a reality. They're suggesting through the movies, through the television shows, to shape a reality for you, to believe that this is how reality is, and then that shapes your thoughts to duplicate or emulate that same activity into society, which produces that world in your world, because you believe that that is true. So as a man think it, so as a woman think it, so they are. So if I can induce you, if I can program you, if I can learn you in a way that's to my benefit, then I will always have an advantage over you, for I'm the one programming you, teaching you about math, science. I set up the curriculum for you. I make sure, I go over all the records of any one of you who score high on the test. So everything that they do, it was designed so that they can always, have a leverage over you if you don't, if you never figure out what's really going on. But I just wanted to let you know that that's all these things that you interact with. Everything that they gave you, they gave it to you for a purpose, because in your acceptance of, let me give you an example what I mean by, the more you accept what they offer, the less of yourself you have. So the more you accept using a typewriter or using a computer, the less of your own penmanship you have, meaning you don't know how to write. You're slacking with your ability to, write paragraphs, write sentences, formulate words into a sentence, because you don't write. You're so used to using the phone or the computer, and everything that they do is programmed to de-weaponize you of your natural inherited weapons that God gave you by nature. So if you constantly using a computer, when you get locked up or something, you don't even know how to write an affidavit. You don't even know how to write a motion from scratch. You so busy using the chat artificial intelligence, and you don't even know how to do it on your own. It's okay to use that stuff, and if you are intelligent enough to know how to do these things yourself. But if you don't know how to create a document yourself, it ain't really. I mean, it's a good idea to use like chat to give you an outline so you can read and get an understanding of how to create a document. But you really need to know for yourself how to create a document, because chat could be creating the wrong kind of document. And if you don't know that the document is incorrect, you thinking it's correct because chat saying it's correct, and you use that document and it's incorrect. So I tell people all the time, the artificial intelligence is just a partner with you. It's not you are the intelligence. It's artificial intelligence. So if you depending on the artificial intelligence and you are the intelligence, that just goes to show you how unintelligent you really are. You know what I'm saying? You looking for the artificial intelligence to tell the intelligence. Come on, man. Just think about what I'm saying. You see how crazy that sound, man? When they got you thinking that Google or Siri's got more intellect than you. And that's not true. It does not have more. Google or Siri's couldn't even create a body like what you did. Who made this body? You did. Who made the lungs? You did. Who made the liver? You did. Who made the eyeballs? You did. Who made the placenta? You did. Now, if you can do all these things and you're that damn intelligent, what makes you think Siri's is more intelligent than you? What makes you think Google is more intelligent than you? I beg the difference, man. Your body proves by its existence that you the most intelligent thing on this earth. The intelligence is in your existence. I mean, your body just is being and functioning shows your intellect, because you are the sole host of that flesh. Who else is controlling the flesh but you? Y'all gonna kill me, keep on thinking y'all body. You're not your body. You are the host. You're the spirit hosting that body. Stop playing. Why you think they always ask you when they pull you over on the side of the road, do you consent to us searching your person? If you are your person, why would they ask you, do you consent to us searching your person? Because it's two of y'all. One of y'all is spirit and one of y'all is flesh. The spirit owns the flesh. The flesh is property of the spirit. And once you understand that and you understand your rightful position, you will learn how to assert yourself. When you're going into court and they having a court hearing, you'll understand who are supposed to be there. You'll understand what part you play. You'll understand your role once you understand your identity. Your identity starts with knowledge of self. One of the most important knowledges that you need is to know who you are as an individual. As an individual, you're not just one person. See, what you're looking at is two persons on this screen. One spirit and one flesh. It's a trust. That's why you can't see the spirit. The spirit is wrapped up in the flesh. But we know that Isaiah is there because I'm the intellect controlling the body. The body is my agent. The body is my representative to all of you. It represents what I want you to know or what I want you to see. And it's also my it's also my enterprise, meaning that everything I do throughout my life, I do it through the enterprise that I'm in, this body. If I want to do some boxing, I got to go through my body to do that. I want some food, I got to go through my body. I want some water, I got to go through my body. It's an enterprise. It's a soul enterprise. Do you understand? Okay? Now you got to learn how to take control, because 9/10 of the law is possession. Everybody keeps saying, how do I take control of the straw man? Shit, you walking around in them. What are you? The flesh is not the real man. That's finite. The Bible tell you that the flesh shall pass. So when you say straw man, you talking about your body. Your body is not who you are. See, the reason why you think the straw man is something on paper is because you think your body is the real you. And I keep trying to tell you, your body is the straw man. Your body is the land estate that you was blessed as an inheritance. What is your inheritance? Your flesh. Your flesh, your piece of land, your body is your estate. It is your land, your connection to the land. You see? So you got to understand why everybody leverages everything against your real and personal property, right? See, your name is connected to your body. Your address is connected to your location. Your location is where all your real and personal property is located. See, when you find out where I reside is where all my property is. My children are located there. My vehicles are located there. My watches, my gold, my woman is located there. That's my estate. My estate is conducive to my address because everything I ever acquired throughout my life will be held at a specific address, the most current address that I use. Your estate is an account created for you at birth. What does the estate do? The estate holds assets known as accounts, promissory notes, mortgage notes. Anytime you receive a loan in your legal name is your estate. So when you sign, you're putting property into the estate. So when you sign a mortgage, you're putting it into your estate, because in order for you to hold the mortgage, you got to hold it in your estate. Why? Because in order to pay the mortgage, it can only be paid with interest. And interest is located where at? In your estate. That's why if you don't pay the interest while you alive, and I take over your estate as an heir, I gotta first pay off your debts, meaning the interest payments you didn't pay while you were alive for the loans that were extended to the estate. The estate received the mortgage and you didn't pay the interest. The estate received the lease and you didn't pay the interest and rents. So if you pass over without paying your interest, then I gotta pay that interest for you in order for me to have freehold interest of your estate. See, the estate is like it's like a check. So when you born, they issue a check known as a negotiable instrument. The check doesn't mature until you die. Once you die, that check is fully matured and able to be paid out to the beneficiaries it's almost like we're loading up our estate with funds throughout our life so that when we die, all the funds we put in there, the interest from those funds can transfer to our descendants. So the estate is it's like a holding bank that holds goods, and then when the grantor of those goods in that account dies, all the interest in every account he put in there can be transferred to the descendants. So that means medical accounts, school accounts, job accounts, any account that's tied. And the reason why the social security number is linked is because the social is the identification number to the estate that identifies the estate as the holder of those funds being in that account. So the social security number is the account to the estate. The name is the estate. Trust. It's an estate. The reason why the name is a trust is because it's a legal name, but it's also a man's name. So being that it's the name of a man, but it's being styled as a legal person, it automatically creates a trust out of the name, because a man is not a legal person. A man is a natural person. So if he's using a legal name, then that's automatically puts him in trust. The guaranteed. That's why statutorily everything operates in trust. When you sign something, you are actually the grantor. Who are you granting to? The estate. What is the estate? Where all your interest is located. That's the only way you could purchase a lease. You got to purchase it to your estate. How else can you pay it if it ain't deposited into the estate? So what is the estate? The estate is your identity. What is the trade secret? Most people don't know that they're trading with their identity, which is their estate. That's the trade secret. You don't know that your identity is your estate. See what I'm saying? So the most important thing that you can learn is knowledge itself and identity. If you are alive today, and if you're watching this live, then that means that you are blessed. Why? Because you know of your estate. Most people don't even know of an estate until after a person dies. They don't even know that they have an estate while we are alive. See, we don't even know that the estate while you are alive acts as a living trust. It acts as a Sesta KV trust, because it's actually a person, but it's a living person, which makes it a trust. So while you're alive, it's a trust, but when you die, you know what I'm saying, that's when it becomes the actual a state. You know what I'm saying? So that's why most people, while they're alive, they either do a living trust so that they can be because you are in trust and you are alive, which makes it a living trust, meaning that the person is actually a living person, which is a living trust because the name is not the person's real name, which makes it a what? A living trust. Once you put it together and you start putting all the pieces in the right places, it'll start making sense to you. And you'll start seeing it. You'll be like, man, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. I'm going to drop this one before I go. What was I in the Lord's Prayer before I go? It said that, okay, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And it says, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory, forever and ever. I mean, right? So we're trying not to be delivered into temptation. Temptation is, like the devil, he got a way of making things that are bad for you look real good, but they have no nutritional value, like pizza. It smells good and it looks delicious, but if you look up the nutritional value of pizza has no value at all. It gives you no nutrition at all. It's actually bad for you. I mean, scientifically, this has been proven that it has no nutritional value, nothing for you. But we eat it all the time like it's just delicious, but it's really not good for us at all. Same thing with sodas. You're not supposed to be drinking no soda. We're not supposed to be drinking that, man. Soda is acid. You're not supposed to be. See, when you don't understand how beautiful you are, when you don't understand how unique your body is, and that your body is like, this body is something amazing. Anytime it can heal itself, if I can cut you and you start automatically, your body start putting itself back together, you got to understand what you got, man. You got something great. But because you got an evil, wicked ruler that he's putting so much poison in you, with the sodas, with what he putting in the meat, he injecting the meat with poison. He putting poison in the water. He poisoning so many aspects of your life, and all this stuff is going into our bodies, but our bodies is so unique that he had to put poison in everything, because the only way because these bodies are unique. So he had to find a way to get us addicted to things that are bad for us. And that's why a lot of us is going through what we're going through, because, whenever you live in another world and you think the world that you're having an experience is the actual world where you really live, and that's not the real world where you live, and then you misidentify, or what we call misrepresent, your true place of abode. You believe that the earth, the physical realm that we own, is the real world. And then the world where you really live, which is inside your flesh, you don't even acknowledge that that's a world you live in. And then you take all the fake ass food from this fake world that you think is the real world, and you put all that fake stuff into the real world where you at. You inside there with all parasites. You in there with all type of diseases and germs in your world. It's just like the Matrix, like Zion. Zion is the inside your flesh. So when you think of Zion, think of inside your body. And then when you think of the Matrix, think outside your body as the Matrix. So the whole time you've been taking all this stuff out the Matrix, which is a fake system, and you've been putting all fake food into your system. And you've been trying to nurture and live off something that's not conducive. It's only, according to the Matrix, it's only certain things within the Matrix that are allowed to be consumed, or that are transferable from this atmosphere into the atmosphere where we live at. And in the book, it gave us instructions. It told us what these things were, so we could identify these things. So when we take flight into this world where all this sin and stuff that the Bible is talking about is going on at, we'll be able to identify these good foods and things that are good for us, so that we don't partake in the wrong types of food and put the wrong stuff into our system, which will affect it and cause it to shorten this time here, right? So we got to follow instructions, man. We got to follow the instructions that we was given. We can't, you got to understand that God's law is an unwritten law. It's an instinctive law. It's a law that we instinctively know. It's something that we don't have to write it down in words. We know we gotta breathe oxygen. We know we have to treat people like we want to be treated. It's just certain things that's just it's what we call simplicit or implicit that it's just known. It's just common sense, right? And then you got man-made law. Man-made law is any law that's made up by man, codes, statutes, regulations, rules. Like the police station, that's man-made law. The courts, that's man-made law. Anything that's been written by man is man-made. All right. Now, when man makes law, his laws have to be in compliance with common law or natural law, universal law, meaning that it can't conflict with the original laws that gave him the rights to even create law. So if his ability to create law came from the original common law, which is the original laws granted to all of us, right, commonly, then he can't abrogate and create a new law that will abrogate those laws, because his power actually came from those laws, just like the Constitution for the United States of America and the Constitution of the United States District of Columbia, right? Meaning the district can't create a new law that'll abrogate the laws that was already in place intact. If each state here was already had governing laws, then they have to actually, damn, what the hell? Fix your car, my man. He just sitting in the car and it's just beeping, man. Fix your car, bro. Nobody want to hear that, man. And check it out. I'm gonna share this story with y'all, right? And then I'm gonna get up off of here, right? I'm gonna come back though, because I know I ain't been dropping no science and stuff, because I've really been trying to let y'all really just soak in what I've already put out. I put out so much information already, man, on my YouTube page, man. Y'all just really gotta study what I put out, man. All the answers and everything is already out there. I done gave all the answers out. It's just you gotta really study to really, put the pieces together. But I didn't pretty much gave y'all pretty much the juice. I mean, there's some other little knickknacks and stuff that you might want to know, but overall, the main thing: security, interest, your rights to claim, assignments of rights. That's the main things. You know what I'm saying? You know you got a right, and you got the rights to claim or assign that right. That's the main thing, man. It's for you to get the knowledge. I'm gonna say it like this. In accounting, if there's any accounting on this live right now, you can validate this for the people for me, right? So in accounting, whenever value is issued in accounting, it can only be settled by the same value from that same source. So if a positive 500 was generated on an account, it can only be settled by the equal equivalent of that 500 in accounting. It can't be settled by nothing else. So being that we are in an accounting system and each and every last one of us have an account, anytime we issue value, it can only be settled by the value generated from what we issued. If you issue a mortgage, you can only settle the mortgage from the mortgage issue itself, meaning that whatever you issue from that mortgage, whatever generates from that mortgage is what you got to use to settle the mortgage. You can't pay with a Federal Reserve note. You can't go get a debit card and pay with a debit card, because all those type of payments are considered as offsets. Meaning in accounting, you got to use the actual source. That's why when they sue you, they don't come in with no Federal Reserve note saying we suing him because he's short on these notes. They come in with the same original agreement or a copy of it, like they got it in their possession, but they sue you under the same document, the original document. They don't. Whenever you get in a lawsuit, they always come in with the document and sue you. All right, that's what they use, right? Well, why you not demanding your rights for payment using the same document against them, saying y'all the one promised me the loan? So I'm demanding y'all pay it. You the one gave me the lease and said rent was due. I'm demanding you pay the rents. You see what I'm saying? Like, it really don't make sense for you to run from something when somebody's offering you something and they giving you a right to take something that they're offering from you. Don't just take possession of the instrument, take possession of the amounts too. If it says that rents are due, Say you accept those rents too. Tell them I want the rents, I want the lease, and I want the apartment. I want it all, man. I want it all, you know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to put that out there. But let me say this, right? So I went to court here lately, right? Like a couple days ago. It's an old case of child endangerment or something like that. You know, I didn't even know the case was still there. I thought it, they had so-called put out a warrant, did some fraudulent stuff, right? So I go in to the little court date, right? So make a long story short, the courts can't hear a case where they don't have jurisdiction. If the courts lack jurisdiction over a matter, they can't hear a matter. The only way the courts can hear a matter is by contract. Now, I can honestly tell you that I went to jail for 20 years for not understanding contract law. And I've been in jail numerous times for traffic citations for not understanding contract law. I've been able to allow cops to even take me to jail at the time at the insertion of a traffic stop because I entered into a contract with the cop verbally, not understanding contracts. When a cop pulls up to your car and he get to talking to you, he's trying to enter you into a contract. Anything he say out his mouth you might look at it as an offer to contract. It's a cop pulling you over on the side of the road and coming up and knocking on your window ain't no different from CPS coming and knocking on your door and asking you about your child. If a cop witness a charge and he's not saying he's the one being damaged, then he's acting as what they call it, he's asserting an allegation, because allegations are third party claims, not a first party claim. A first party claim is a claim. A third party claim is an allegation. So if I ain't the party if I'm the injured party in the matter and I'm the state, but I'm not the one who makes the complaint, another person who's seen me get injured makes the complaint for me, that's an allegation. And that's what all court cases are. Every court case you've ever been in, every court case your son, your daughter, or anybody's ever been in was an allegation, because the cop was presenting the charge for the state. He wasn't saying that he was injured. He said the state was injured and he witnessed that injury. So what he did was file a complaint with the district attorney. The district attorney sued you. But that's an allegation. Why? Because the cop is not the injured party. So anything he presents and the DA sues on is an allegation. So how in the hell are we going to jail for allegations, y'all? Just think about it. How in the hell is we going to jail for 20, 30 years for an allegation? How in the hell is you paying or being on a year probation for an allegation for a traffic citation? Think about it. I'm telling you for a fact that these are allegations. I can prove it to you. These are allegations. Let me explain something to you. I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna explain something to you, and then I'm gonna get off this lie. You know why you never a traffic ticket is a lawsuit. If you study this information long enough, you know that a traffic ticket is considered as a lawsuit, right? Now, according to federal law, anytime a lawsuit is filed in the court, they're supposed to serve you with a copy of the summons, the complaint, in a summons to court. So if the complaint the district attorney files is what creates the lawsuit in the court for the traffic citation, the district attorney is supposed to summons you to court. He's supposed to send you a summons and complaint and letting you know that you're being sued by the state for speeding. Because the state is the one suing you. So the state got to be the one that served process upon you. All right. So if the cop writes a ticket, the district attorney looks at the ticket and say, this is enough to sue you. And then he files a lawsuit against you in court. And he doesn't have a serve you. And he has you come in the courtroom thinking you only in there for a traffic ticket, but he ain't telling you that the traffic ticket has now turned into a lawsuit. That's fraud, bro. That's a violation of civil rules of procedure, because every traffic ticket is a lawsuit, and every time you get a ticket from a cop, you should always be served by the state, because the state is going to sue you for that ticket. So if the state is going to sue you for the ticket, you need to have a summons and complaint from the state saying that they suing you. When the prosecutor fails to give you a notice and tell you that you being sued and give you an opportunity to join into the case as a plaintiff by notifying you of the lawsuit, when they don't tell you being sued, they're violating Rule 19 of the Federal Rules of Procedure. They're violating Rule 23 of the Federal Rules of Procedure, and they're also violating constitutional law, Article 4 of the Constitution, because they're violating due process of law. All lawsuits are preceded by a summons. So if you being sued off something that a cop wrote, then you're supposed to get summons to court. You don't just come in off no ticket. The ticket is not, the cop is not suing you with the ticket. He's writing a complaint on the ticket. So how in the hell is that the lawsuit? The lawsuit didn't come into play until the prosecutor filed the case. So where the hell is my summons at? Do you know you can get every case thrown out just for that? Just for that alone. Just for the simple fact the prosecutor, when they filed the lawsuit for the state, never summons you to court. He made you feel that the cop's ticket was your summons to court, and that's bogus, because the cop is not the one filing the complaint. It's the district attorney. So I just gave you a way to beat your case just by just listening to this live, man. I just gave you some free information that's life-changing, man. Most people don't even know that. I guarantee you, the average person has the slightest idea that the district attorney is suing them. Nor do they have, not only is that the district attorney is suing them, they don't have no idea that that a civil action is a non-criminal action. Man, listen, a civil action is a non-criminal action. You can Google this. You can go online right now and Google legal definition of civil action. We in the civil system, everything that they've been doing, what we just have, civil rights movement, right? And they was fighting for civil rights. Why civil rights? Because we in the civil system, and they dealing with civil matters, dealing with the people. So if everything is about civil rights, and we in the civil system, and civil actions are non-criminal, how in the hell are you going to jail for a pistol? And it's a civil action. How in the hell are you going to jail for drug trafficking and it's a civil action, meaning it's a non-criminal action? You can call it criminal, but there's no damage party. And anytime you commit a crime like a gun charge, a drug charge, that's non-criminal. That's a state violation, meaning a corporation is suing you on behalf of the state because they're acting for the state. The police station is acting for the state. So when they sue you, they're acting as the state. So what the prosecutor attorney does as an agent with the state, he adopts that from the cop and then sues you for the state. Now tell me how. Now how in the hell is that? How in the hell is that feasible to where they working together against us? And then, did you know that when a cop files a complaint for the state, he's not supposed to file that complaint with the state? That's a violation of separations of powers. The state cannot delegate its own case. So anytime you get a ticket, a criminal case, and they file it in district court, you need to file a motion to move to the proper court, Supreme Court, federal court, because the state can't hear its own case. You can't file a case for the state with the state. Come on, man. And the only reason why they getting it off because you keep consenting to that shit. You know what I'm saying? You keep on going in there and going through the procedures. You won't say nothing. They can't do that, man. That's a violation of law. You can't persecute and hear your own case. The prosecutor is suing for the state. He's the prosecutor for the state. How you suing for the state? And the state is the injured party. And the cop, the institution that presented the claim, is a state agency submitting the claim. So you submitting the claim for the state from a state agency. Then the prosecutor, which is a state agent, is suing for the state as an agent for the state. And then the cop is a witness that's witnessing the crime for the state. So all y'all working for an unknown entity that ain't gonna never even show up, speak, or say nothing. And we gotta go to jail for 20, 30 years for an unknown identified person. Because the state can't be identified. And you should never allow a prosecutor, attorney to speak in court. Anytime you in a court proceeding and the prosecutor speaks, you always object. Let him say what he got to say. Don't cut him off while he's speaking, because they'll consider that as, rude or disruptive, right? So you want to do things in proper procedure, right? You let him say what he got to say, and after he get done talking, you object, and you say hearsay. You say that that's hearsay evidence, that the prosecuting attorney doesn't have the authority to issue any orders for this record, for he's a third party. He does not have firsthand knowledge, and only firsthand claimants can enter into the record. You got to know that, man. Listen, these people ain't gonna tell you nothing. They gonna do every scheme, every little trick they can to try to get something on the record against you. You got to know what goes on the record and what does not go on the record. And you got to hold these people accountable. Whenever you go to court, you should always challenge the jurisdiction. Always. Never go into a courtroom without first letting them know that you're making a special appearance. Now listen, they're going to play games with you, right? And I noticed that when you come into court and you say, hey, I'm appearing as the representative for John Henry Doe, and then they get to say, oh, well, John, we're going to say he's not here. We're just going to issue a warrant. So let Brother Isaiah tell you how to deal with that, so you don't never have that problem ever going into a courtroom. Whenever you go into a courtroom and they call your legal name out, this is what I want you to, and this is not legal advice, this is me sharing education of what I've done, okay? Whenever they call your legal name out in court, the first thing you want to say is, yes, I'm here for that matter. And then they're gonna probably ask you again, are you John Henry Doe? And then that's when you say, let the record reflect that I'm making a special appearance in my proper person as John Henry Doe, the living man. Here, only here to assert matters against the court to address matters against the court that have been asserted against me in my legal capacity as the defendant. Now, you want to say it like that, because if you don't say that, if you don't admit that the name that they call him, if you don't identify that as your name or a name similar to that name, they're going to say that that person is not there. See, but it's two persons. You got to remember, it's a legal person, but there's also a natural person that's always going to be a surety with a legal person. Every legal person has a surety as a natural person. So when they call out the legal name, you got to make sure that you address it in a special appearance as the natural person or the principal owner, right? And then you can come in, you can say, yes, I'm making a special appearance. Let the record reflect that I am the sole principal owner of Isaiah Jakeem. You say, I'm the sole principal owner, Isaiah Jakeem Bey. You got to use the same name, but you got to make sure that you distinctively make it clear that you are a personal representative. You got to make it distinctively clear that you are representative owner or something to that degree. You can use the exact same name. You just got to make sure that you're saying that you are the representative, or you are the registered owner, or you basically coming in as the trustee if you operate in the name as a trust. But a lot of times people run from saying that name or identifying themselves with the name. That's what they want you to do. They want you to come in and try not to identify with the name so that they can play their game. You don't do that. You identify with the name. You just let them know that you a man. That's all you say. You should come in. Yes, I'm making a special appearance in my proper person as the living man, Isaiah Jakeem Bey. Only here to address matters that have been asserted against me in my legal capacity as the defendant, Isaiah Jakeem Bey. So now they know for a fact what you're saying. You are asserting your legal capacity. You're saying that you are a natural man. Your name is Isaiah Jakeem Bey, and you're saying you're making a special appearance to address matters that have been asserted against you in your legal capacity as the defendant. So that's letting you know that the defendant is your legal capacity, and that Isaiah Jakeem Bey, the man, is the natural capacity. And you're appearing as the man, but you're asserting matters that have been asserted against you as a legal person. You see what I'm saying? And once you do that, they can't play that name game stuff with you no more. They can't do it no more, because what you just done, you've just expressed suretyship. You just came in under the you just came in as the living man, and anytime you express that you the living man, that automatically puts you under suretyship automatically, because the proceeding is always going to be against a legal person. So if the legal person in the proceedings asserts his natural identity as a man, it automatically puts him in suretyship, and it automatically places the proceedings under trust for the named person. It's asserting that he's a natural living person, which automatically puts it in trust. It automatically changes the whole proceeding when you say you alive. I'm telling you what's real. When you come in there, listen, I beat 19 tickets fresh out the federal penitentiary. Coming home, I knew about this information, but I hadn't learned enough to really know how to really use it yet. I was out for like 8 months, and 19 tickets went back active, and they went to active warrants against me. I was on federal probation, so you can't be on Fed paper with no warrants and nothing. So my PO called me, and I'm like, man, this is impossible. You know, I can't be on probation with no warrants. He like, I don't know what happened, but you got to take care of it. They don't care nothing about none of that. They like, you got to take care of that. So I go down there and get a new court date, right? Tell them I've been locked up. I did 20 years in the joint, and I only been home now for 8 months. I'm fresh out, so they give me a new court date to go back. So, you know, I'm stressed out. You hear me? I'm fresh out. I'm trying to do right. You know what I'm saying? I got a good job, you know, and I'm like, and I guess Allah never wanted me to work that job. So he had to interrupt my proceeding. He made sure I was uncomfortable in every aspect of what I thought comfortability was. He made it uncomfortable for me, man. I had a good job, but I wasn't comfortable with it. You hear me? He made sure that I wasn't going to get comfortable with that, right? So, make a long story short, I go down and I get the court date, so I'm stressed out. I got these 19 tickets over my head. I'm fresh out. I'm on Fed paper. I don't want to go back and forth through, you know, transit, going back and forth through the county because I missed the court date, because I did all that before I went to jail, dealing with these tickets and stuff, right? So I never plead guilty to none of that stuff. So I was fighting it the whole time before I went to jail, right? So I had read this book called Redemption. It's called Cracking the Code 4.5. So I got it from a brother named Michael Jordan when I was in the feds. And, you know, he just pulled up on me out of the blue, you know, and just say, hey, man, he say, I think this will be a good book for you to read. And I don't even know why he gave it to me. Out of everybody in that whole unit, he came to me and gave me this book. And so I started reading the book and started talking about the Social Security and all the stuff about the straw man. So, you know, I was intrigued because, you know, I already felt like the government was wicked anyway, because I'm locked up on this bogus case. So it really intrigued me. I started really studying. So when I got out, that's the only information I had in my head was the information I read in that book. So it told me that I can put in an affidavit, a power of attorney. So I put in but I handwritten all my documents. I didn't type them. I wrote them in my own handwriting, the whole power of attorney. I wrote it out in my own handwriting. I made sure that it was legible where they can read it. I did a copyrights and trademark where I was saying that the name is my personal property, and I recorded that in the county, you know, saying that, you know, anybody use this, I'm charging them this amount for it, right? And then I wrote another one to deny the corporate status, that the name is some type of legal corporation, that it's actually the child's name. It's the name of a child, like it say on the birth certificate. I don't care that it's a legal person, but it's representing the child. So don't get it twisted. So I put that in. I filed all three of them with the clerk of court. They was trying to deny the affidavits. They were trying to say that you can't handwrite a document. It has to be printed or typed, right? So being that I was studying, because if I wasn't studying, they would have got that off on me. I would have walked away, and I would have lost by leaving by default. I left the battlefield. So I didn't leave the battlefield. I said, no, you're incorrect. I said, according to law, I said, as long as this is legible and you can read it, you need to file these documents. And I pushed them back over there to her, and I told her I want my documents filed. She went and got the main lady, and they filed my documents, because and what you're trying to do is deprive me the rights to be a man. The only a man can handwrite. So when I write those documents out in my own handwriting and I submit that into the court record, that's automatically proof that I'm a natural person. I ain't got to say a goddamn word to the judge. All I tell them is that you got documents written in my handwriting, and unless there's an injured party here, I demand you dismiss these charges. It's just that simple, because only a natural person can make an appearance in court, right? Or well, not only a natural person, but a special appearance can only be made by a natural person. So whenever you handwrite something in your own handwriting and you specify that you submitting this to the court, and you say that this is a special appearance in writing and it's coming from you, that is your appearance. You don't never have to go in court. All you have to do is make a special appearance in writing. You let them know that this is an appearance for case number 21214, plaintiff versus defendant, pertaining to whatever it's pertaining to, and then you say, I defendant John Henry Doe make a special appearance in writing to deal with the matters asserted against me in my legal name. That's how you do that. You do not show up at court. You do not show up at court unless you have to, unless there's a motion hearing for dismissal, or there's a special hearing for like a claim that you made and they made a special hearing for the claim date or whatever to, to administrate the claim to make sure it's a lawful claim that you're making. But other than that, if it's dealing with the matter at hand with the court, all that is dealt with in paperwork. So anytime it's dealing with the claim, the charges, you deal with that in paper. You respond, you give an answer to the charges in writing. You don't show up in person, because when you show up in person, that's a form of granting jurisdiction to the court. Because if the court supposedly don't have jurisdiction, then you wouldn't show up. You showing up shows that you're in compliance, or you're under some type of authority that's basically calling you in to make an appearance. See what I'm saying? If you know that they're making a call for an appearance, but it's not directly to you as a man, it's being directed to you as a legal person, and as a representative, that the man representing yourself as a legal person, you don't have to show up. All you got to do is represent the legal person in the matter and make an appearance in writing. You don't never show up. You don't never have to show up. And I can show you this. If you don't believe what I'm saying is true, and you want to challenge my knowledge, then baby boy, baby girl, then be my guest and challenge me, so I can bust you across your head and show you where this information is located, that you do not show up in court. You make a appearance in writing. All you got to do is go read the civil rules of procedure. You want to know the truth? Go read the civil rule of procedure. Say, civil rule of procedure, how do you give an answer to a complaint? Civil rule of procedure for Texas. How do I give an answer to a complaint? Civil rule of procedure for Florida. And watch what pop up. And when you read it, you're going to be like, damn, it say the only thing you got to do to answer a complaint is give a written notice. But how many people read, though? How many of y'all read and know that? Or some of y'all so scared, I don't want to send it in, man, and they put a warrant out for me. Y'all so scared, man. These furious how they's able to do everything that they doing to you. You so fearful. I even told a dude one day, I say, man, listen. I say, send your bill back and write this on it and send it back. You know what this man told me? If I send that bill back, is they gonna cut off my electricity? I said, have you ever not paid your electricity? He like, yeah, I didn't miss. I said, how long do the electricity company let you go without paying your bill before they disconnect your services? He said, it's usually like 90 days. So what makes you think that if you sent in one bill for this month addressing the matter, they're going to cut your services off when you can go without paying them for 90 days and they won't even cut off your services? So they're going to cut your service off just for writing a notice to them? See, it's ignorance like that that I don't like. When people don't use logic and they don't use common sense. Like, I mean, I'm talking about many people. I tell them, I say, write your electricity company, tell them this. Write your gas company and tell them this. Oh, you sure if I write them, they ain't gonna cut me off? They ain't gonna cut. Bruh, you got 21 days. You got 30 days before the bill is due. This the first day. You just got the bill today. I'm telling you to send it off today. You still got damn near 20 some days left in the cycle. So they gonna, I mean, It's the fear. You gotta shake the fear. You gotta shake that shit, man. That all that being tacit and being afraid to speak and some of y'all can read this information and see it word for word and still be afraid. You'll see what it say. It'll tell you word for word. You'll still be guessing. Man, should I do it? Do you think? When it's telling you right there, make your claim, demand payment. You know what I'm saying? It's clear as day. It's clear as day. They demand their payments. The corporation always demand its payments. Why you don't demand yours? All right, y'all. So I think I done said enough for now, but I got a lot of great stuff going on, man, with building better minds and stuff. I got some great programs that we designed for the people, so we kind of switched the memberships up a little bit to where it's more of a school setting, to where when you become a member of Building Better Minds, you go through classroom setting where you take tests, you do quizzes, you got to go through all the different steps of your course in order to complete it. So it's like a learning course to where you study, you read certain materials and different things that's required for your lesson when you become a member. And then you take different tests and stuff. And it's just like it's set up to where, you're making sure that you're learning. So as you're going through the course, you're taking tests to go over the stuff, to test yourself on the information you've been learning, you've been reading. So you're not just going through it and you're not, you ain't retaining nothing from it. My whole thing is to make sure that you learn. I want to make sure you understand about what a lease is, understand what leasehold interest is, what it means to hold a lease or to accept your rights under a lease, and how to assert claims and what the parties' roles are in reference to a lease, and how a lease is converted into a new agreement or a sublease, and all these different things that we need to know. So I created the platform to where when you go through it, you have to learn these things. You have to learn this information in order to pass yourself through the course. Without passing, you'll be stuck until you learn. So because that's what it's all about. It's about you learning. It ain't about you just writing something because I told you to write it. Because if you write something and you send it and they send you back and say we don't accept this form of payment, then you're gonna be having to get another consultation. That's some more money you got to spend with me just to have another conversation about how you deal with a notice that you weren't expecting to get back when you endorsed that bill to them. So that's why I'm telling you, instead of you depending on other people to give you the answers, you don't want me to give you the answers. What you want me to do is give you the information. You don't want me to give you no answers. You can develop your own answers. You just need the information. You teach me how to play basketball. I don't want to play the game like you play it. I just want to learn the rules so I can develop my own game. That's how I go, man. It's the same thing. I don't want to play like you. I want to play my own game. I want to be me on the court. I don't want to be Isaiah on the court. I don't want to be up in there talking like the people remedy. I want to talk like me. You know what I'm saying? I learn from the people remedy. I get information from them. But when I go in that courtroom, I'm speaking like me, the man that I am. You know what I'm saying? Because Brother Isaiah is not me. And I'm not Brother Isaiah. That's just my brother. I learned from Brother Isaiah. But I'm going to stand in my own